Teal.
I want to show everybody three pieces of sound from the morning TV of people, different categories of people defending the tariffs. Lots of skepticism in business. The market's very skeptical, obviously. Big debate about whether we are going to see off-ramps taken, some or many, in the next week. Here is first the vice president on Fox and Friends, 106, please.
And they want to do the patriotic duty of taking it to these other countries, but it's going to hit them a little bit. They feel. What can you tell the American people that they just can't afford an extra $3 here and there about the government making up the difference from that? Will costs go up at some point? Will this just be temporary? Are we talking 3 months or 6 months?
Well, we certainly hear, and I appreciate, how I grew up.
I know.
I grew up in a family that often did live paycheck to paycheck, and we know a lot of Americans are worried. So we are fighting very hard to bring prices down. We're going to have the biggest deregulation in the history of this country. We're doing a lot of things and already have done a lot of things to lower the cost of energy. You heard the president mention this yesterday. Eggs, when we came
All in
in,
reconciliation.
we're at a 10-year high, and all of a sudden they've dropped 60% just in the 2 months of the Trump administration. What I'd ask folks to appreciate here is that we are not going to fix things overnight. Yeah. Joe Biden left us, this is not an exaggeration, Lawrence, with the largest peacetime debt and deficit.
Okay, we can get out of this. Now, here's Secretary Lutnick.
Was this reaction, is it overdone, you think, or about what you thought?
Well, I think the long term or even the medium term, you've got to expect the United States of American markets are going to do extremely, extremely well. I understand the reordering of the rest of the world's markets, but they have been taking advantage of the trading policy, the markets policy. All the policies of the United States of America were designed to make you rich and make us poor. Take our factories from us, go build elsewhere. I mean, imagine this. Why are all of our pharmaceutical products, the ingredients to our pharmaceutical products, made in Asia? That's not cheap labor. That's just a failed policy that lets the rest of the world gut America. And that's what Donald Trump is here to address, and he's going to change it, and he's going to protect America for our children and our grandchildren.
Now, one more point, at one point, and then I want to show you one more soundbite. Watch closely who flies to Florida with the president today, because he's going to be in Florida Thursday night, Friday, Saturday, Sunday. As we all know, face-to-face with Donald Trump gives you a lot more influence. There's going to be lots of criticism, particularly if the markets do poorly today. Who's on the plane with him to Florida? Who's with him as he's weighing how to react to the world reaction? Lastly, Dave McCormack, senator from Pennsylvania, was on CNBC this morning promoting his book, which he and his wife Dina were on two-way to promoting the other day, talking about mentorship. And of course, Dave McCormack was asked about tariffs. My view of this answer, I'll just set it up to say, this is exactly the way the White House would like their supporters to answer. And keep in mind, this guy worked at Bridgewater, very, very experienced in economics and global economics. Play Dave McCormack 108, please.
Three quick things I'd say on tariffs. Number one, the tariffs, we've talked about nothing about tariffs for last month. The tariff chapter is one chapter in a book of economic policies that's going to include deregulation, energy dominance, extension and tax reform, foreign investment in the United States. So it's important, but it's one thing. And those things should give markets a lot of certainty. Second thing is, what the tariffs are designed to do is address a fundamental problem of unfairness. And Mike Froman, I just heard him on earlier. The global trading system has brought great benefits, but it's been inherently unfair to the United States in many ways. China, many other countries have not followed those rules, and it's had devastating effects in my home state of Pennsylvania, my hometown. When I was growing up, the carpet mill had 2,000 employees. It has 200 now. So what's happening here is to address unfairness and also bring back a much stronger manufacturing base in the United States. That's the goal. And the third thing is, we are in the earliest days of this and still trying to digest it. I'm still trying to digest it. Scott Besson said yesterday, first of all, what the tariffs were is a ceiling, assuming people don't retaliate. Right. And now there's going to be a series of negotiations that take place. I mean, listen, in my home state, I'm trying to understand the impact of this so I can make sure that the second and third order consequences are addressed. Every country around the world is going to be negotiating this. And the tariff levels, it really is the case, I think Joe just said it, it's not just tariffs, it's non-tariff barriers, it's currency. So this is meant to address some fundamental unfairness, and I think it's too early to pass judgment, I'll say one final word, which is what President Trump has been talking about during the campaign. Everything he's doing, he said, this is about the real economy. So if we can get the real economy where it needs to be through a whole range of policies, that's going to be good for financial markets.
Dan, thoughts on Vance, Lutnick, and McCormack?
It's the best thing they got. I mean, they're going towards the legislative solutions to help the economy, which is to say this is not in the short run. We've talked about this now for a month. It is not in the short run going to help the economy. We can all hope in the long run to reorder the global economy to our maximum benefit. But I said it before, it's the duration it takes to get there and the degree of pain Americans are willing to tolerate. You can't take a factory out of China and put it in Scranton in, under a year and a half. It just takes time. So we're going to see. But that's the best argument they got.
You can't announce you're going to do it, though, which is what the president's counting on.